Yeah, glory to the Lord. Yeah, glory to the Lord. Yeah. Glory to the Lord, couch put me in.
Hey, glory to the Father, glory to the Lord. I've been surrounded by hermanos, we in one accord. In love with Jesus, so the kingdom don't feel like a chore. Check the score, bigger than some pickup, it's a war. Way too busy in the gym for y'all to think it's sweeping up. Treat the word just like my jumper, baby, better read it up. Trying to practice what I preach because I don't believe in love. 4-0 against the devil, baby, time to sweep him up. Who the MVP? Y'all ain't gotta ask, it's a G.O.D. From the valley to the highest hills out in Beverly. I'm sticking with the greatest, finally living like I made it. Old teams probably hate it, but what I look like trying to post about a trophy, but I'm never in. Only in it for the blessings and the benefits. Time to go to every practice, let me ball like in the palace. Give them Jesus off the court, that's the evidence. Homie, God bless.
God bless those hating on me. I'm an OG, still a great low key. Hey, keep winning, keep running up stats.
Homie, God bless.
God bless those hating, still a great. Glory to the Lord. Yeah, glory to the Lord. Yeah, glory to the Lord. Yeah, glory to the Lord. Couch put me in.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you, but you're not the main character. I ain't trying to hang with no Jew, this is scary. Yet every time I think I'm clear, I pops a new variant. No labels on me, I'm free. God bless America. Thank God I was raised before the camera.
Yeah, let's do that, man. Y'all know what it is, man. Welcome to episode number 1 of Joe Boss Radio. Listen, we officially back, y'all. We back doing our thing on radio, man. Now, listen, I hope y'all rocking with us and ready to have a good time because I'm ready to have a good time. I hope you are too. So listen, I'm telling you right now, it is an amazing feeling to be back, man. It's been a long time coming. There's been some challenges. There have been many things that went in my favor and some things that didn't. But you know what? All of that don't even matter no more, man. You know what I'm saying? Let's get started, man. You know what I mean? You are rocking with Joe Boss, man. You are officially tuned in to episode number 1 of Joe Boss Radio. I'm excited to be here. I hope you guys are excited to rock with me as well. So listen, man. Joe Boss Radio, it's not just going to be some background noise. This is going to be a station to rise up, right? Right here, we're going to talk about some real stuff. We're going to talk about your money, your mental health, your manhood, your marriage, your ministry, your mission, and your mastery. What I call those are the 7 motivation. And if it impacts your life, your family, or your future, we're bringing it to the table. And listen, man, this is what we got to do. We got to make this thing huge, make this thing grow to what it's going to be. And listen, man, I need y'all to go share this right now on your pages because this is episode number 1. So we want to make sure that we get a lot of people tuned in with us. Listen, I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm telling you right now. Yes, you're going to see me looking on and off screen quite a bit because you know what happens when you're a one-man show? You got to do everything. We got to do everything. So listen, just to explain a little bit more about me. I am a husband, a father, financial strategist, and a kid who just grew up dreaming about being on radio. Listen, I've been broke, I've been discouraged, I've made mistakes, and they should have taken me out, but God kept me. God keeps me. And because of it, I'm now on this mic here to help you build, to help you start building, to help you keep on building a stronger mind, a stronger family, and a stronger future. All right. The purpose of this show is simple. It's to give everyday people real conversations and real tools so that you just don't survive. You don't want to survive life. You want to rise in it. All right. You want to rise in to everything that we're doing. Because with every episode, we're going to unpack at least one of those motivations, again, which is money, mental health, manhood, marriage, ministry, mission, or mastery, right? We're going to talk about these with honest stories. We're going to talk about practical strategies, and we're going to have some guests who's been through something and has learned from it, all right? I'm going to interview people who are within any industry. Doesn't matter the industry that you're in. You're going to be involved in finances, you could be involved in teaching, you could be involved in construction, whatever it is, this is where we want you to be. All right. This is where we want you to rock. And I'm telling you, it's going to be powerful. So listen, let's continue on. And while you're at it, man, listen, I need y'all to jump into the comments to rock with us. Hey, what's up, Hope? How you doing? I appreciate you. Thank you for logging in. Hope, if you can, share this YouTube stream with the team and share it on your page. That'd be really, really wonderful if you could do that. So I really appreciate you just being here with me. Listen, we are live right now on YouTube and Facebook. As you can see, you can follow us at Joe Boss Radio. And this is where we're going to rock. This is where we're going to have a good time and pretty much discuss everything, anything, and all of it. All right. So listen, as we go through this, like I said, the purpose of this show is really simple. We're going to give everyday people some real conversations. All right. We're going to have some real tools so that you don't just survive in life. You're going to rise up, right? If you've ever felt left behind, if you've ever felt overlooked, or like maybe you weren't made for what you're doing right now or how you're living right now, this is the space for you. You're not crazy. You're just not alone. And you're not stuck. All right. So listen, let's turn up this volume. Let's continue to talk and let's share this with somebody who needs to push tonight. All right. So now let's get right into it. Make sure that y'all also follow me on Linktree. We just set up a Linktree link, and I'm going to post that in the comments here in just a moment because, you know, Linktree is a lot. And we're going to have a lot of fun. Everything is at Joe Boss Radio. All right. Y'all can follow me. Type that literally anywhere at Joe Boss Radio. And we're going to be able to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to be able to discuss them.
You are not the man, you are amateur. I know, girl.
Sorry about that. So that is basically where we're going to continue to rock at Joe Boss Radio everywhere. I tried to make it simple and uniform. So really, we're on IG, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube and TikTok. How about that? Yeah, I'm going to post it for y'all one time so y'all can follow it at Joe Boss Radio right there. Real simple. That's how you stay rocking with us. All right. So we're going to jump into talking about the mastery section, the 7 motivations. So where I got this idea is, you know, I've been blessed by God to have an ability to speak to other men, right? I can relate to them on multiple levels. I can relate to people in the boardroom. I can relate to people that have been in the streets. It's really about being able to have a conversation, not necessarily just to try to tell them what to do, because nobody really wants to be told what to do, you know, but they do want to feel like they're being helped along the process. So as we do this, as we go and walk through the process, we're going to talk through all of them. All right. And again, let me give you this 7 motivations list. All right. And it's real simple. Should I post this in the comments? Yeah, I think I should do that. Right. I'm going to post this in the comments for y'all so y'all can follow me. Of course, nothing copies perfectly. Right. All right. So let's just put the first motivation that we're going to talk about into the chat right now. Let's put the first one in there. And let's pull it up. So the first one that I'm going to talk about, guess what? It's money. Let's not be surprised that, you know, we're going to talk about money. My background is particularly in the financial business, right? I am a life insurance agent. I have licenses for 6 and 63, which means I can do investments for you. And I've have 20 years now of some type of financial planning. Some type of financial planning. What does that mean? That means, well, when I started out in my finances and in that field, I was actually a mortgage rep. And when I did the whole mortgage rep thing, I was actually assisting customers with the process of purchasing a home, right? When you're talking about purchasing a home, it can be one of those things that can be taxing. It's hard, right? It's not, you don't just walk and all of a sudden you're purchasing a home, right? You don't just walk into a house and say, all right, I'm gonna buy this house today. I mean, unless you have your heavy cash strapped, that's usually not how it works, right? How it normally works is, you got to go through a process of being approved by a creditor, getting a loan. Usually you would have to have been at your job for a normal 2-year period, get a certain credit rating. It's a lot of different things, right? A lot of different things you would need with the 7 motivations and with managing your money. So I did that. Then I transitioned into retail banking in 2007, and with 2007 I went to Washington Mutual, which essentially turned into Chase. Right? What's up, Yvonne? How you doing? I appreciate you logging in. Please share it to the family. You can share the YouTube link or the Facebook link. But we appreciate you rocking with us either way. So back to the money. So as I transited into retail banking, working with Washington Mutual and Chase, by the time I got to Chase, I had really gotten pretty good at what I do. So I moved up the ranks and went from standard retail banker to small business specialist. And then I went to Chase Private Client. After working through, the ranks there up to Chase Private Client Banker, what we did was transition over to HSBC, right? It was a really interesting experience because their niche is that they focused on the international market. So I got to learn a little bit about managing bank accounts on the international scale. I was still doing private client, but their version of private client at HSBC which was called Premier Banking. Then in 2015, 2017 is when I transitioned into the financial planning and insurance space, right? From there, I was at New York Life, then Allstate, and now I'm at my own agency, which is Rise Up Financial Agency, which has been a blessing. It has been an amazing journey. It's just been one of the best things that I could say that I've ever done, right? Which was to start my own agency, and now I'm able to assist and help a lot of clients in multiple ways, right? If I can't do it directly, I know for a fact that I can get it done very easily as well. So we can go from there and talk about that. That's the money portion of it, right? I have to be able to talk about money, right? I had to give you my resume so you understand that I've been doing this for over 20 years. And in a lot of aspects, I can help you. And if I can't do it myself, I know the direction to point you, right? It's all about helping people in multiple ways and helping do multiple things, right? So let's go on from there, right? So essentially, with the money aspect, I'm just going to teach you how to handle the bag, right? We're all learning. I'm not here saying that I'm balling out. I have definitely had my days where, I had 2 nickels to rub together, and I've had my days where felt like I could buy anything I've wanted, right? We all go through those times, but it's how you manage it in the between time to do the best that you can. Because guess what? Sometimes you're going to go through a period of lack where you're not going to have enough, right? And then you're going to go through a period of plenty where you have more than enough. And it's the in-between space is where you can determine either how long you'll be in lack or how long you'll stay within the plenty. So that's really, really how we can make that work. And, really get to a place where we're really helping you grow. All right. That's what we're looking to do. All right. So that's money. The second motivation that I'm going to talk with you all about is called mental health, right? What's going on in your head and your heart? Well, that's what we're going to talk about, the mindset that you have for yourself. Sometimes we can have a mindset that isn't that isn't good for us. We could have a mindset where we have been abused and we tend to hurt ourselves. You could have a mindset where we've dealt with some emotional trauma, stress. And guess what? We encourage you to go to therapy, right? There's nothing wrong with therapy. Therapy was created by God. So for you super Christians to say you shouldn't go to therapy, nah, I don't believe that at all. Because there is such thing as Christian therapy who can give you, a lot of different areas right away in that spirit when it comes to the therapy. All right. That's in the mental health space. We're going to talk about spiritual wellness, learning how to be honest, how to heal, and not to suffer in silence. That's the biggest thing. You can't suffer in silence. All right. Hey, Mike Reed, I appreciate you. Thank you. This is my godfather. Very much like a father to me since before I can remember. He's always been there for me. So thank you, Mike. I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, I really do. Appreciate you tuning in. All right. So now let's continue on. The next portion of the 7 motivations, we are going to discuss manhood. I know that's a topic that can get real crazy, right? Depending on who you're talking to. Because anytime you start to question somebody's manhood, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be an argument or a fight, right? But how can we grow in our manhood without being confrontational? Well, it takes some conversations, right? Having some hard conversations, right? We're going to talk about your identity. We're going to talk about character. We're going to talk about responsibility, integrity, and discipline, right? We're going to help you move from the mentality of a boy to the mentality of a man, right? All of these motivations, I'm telling you, I'm not giving you this from a space that I'm some guru that got it all right. Nah, we all on this journey together. I'm a person that is learning to handle these things just as good as you are, right? I'm learning it just as fast as you are. The difference is everything I learn, I want to share because I want to see all my brothers and sisters grow to the next level. I want to see all of you get to that place where you have reached full maturity in your manhood. You've reached full discipleship in your walk. You've reached the pinnacle of your career. I want to see you win. I definitely want to see you win. All right. That's the whole goal. That's what we're here to do, is we're here to see each other win. And as long as winning is the main thing, let's keep the main thing the main thing. Right? Isn't that simple? Keep the main thing the main thing. And that's these 7 motivations. All right. So that's manhood, right? When you come to your manhood, though, what are some of the things we have to focus on is your character, responsibility, right? Do what you have to do. Do what you have to do. And sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you get called to the carpet way more than you would want to, right? You have to be the responsible one. And it's not easy at all. It's not something that it just happens on a whim. It's not something that is how can I say? It's not something that you can do easily. Growth and manhood, especially trying to do it the right way, is going to take you through some hard times. I'm sorry. I hate to be the one to tell you that, but it's going to take you through some tough times. It's going to take you through some periods where you really just want to fight. You just want to fight somebody because the things that happen, they hurt. The things that can come towards you, the responsibilities that you have to be the provider, protector, you need to bring order. These are things that are your responsibility. And you know what? Please do your best to take that responsibility, right? Because nobody's perfect, but everybody can be somebody. Everybody can be somebody. All right. So that's how we can continue to grow. All right. So that's the manhood portion of it. Number four. Listen, I hope y'all love this. Let me get some feedback from how y'all feel about what I'm talking about in the comments. So far, we've talked about money, mental health, and manhood, right? Write something in the comments or invite somebody to the chat so that we can discuss some of these things to see where you're at. Let's talk about this seriously because this is good stuff, right? This is good stuff to talk about. This is the things that we need as brothers and sisters in the faith to be a part of what we're doing, right? This is what we have to do together. All right, so that's number 3. Now go back to the next phase. Number 4, we're going to talk about marriage, right? So we had money. Thank you, Yvonne Scott, for putting these in the chat so that I can put it up here. We got number 1 was money. Number 2 was mental health. Number 3 was manhood. And now we're going to get to number 4, which is marriage, right? How you love, lead, and partner at home. That's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about marriage, right? Listen, marriage is hard, but marriage is beautiful. It's beautiful, hard, loving, challenging, and at the end of it, you go to heaven, right? That's the end, right? One of you goes to heaven. But seriously, marriage is one of the things that has probably helped me grow the most in my life. Having to step up to learn how to do things that I wasn't necessarily taught, right? That I had to seek out and learn because I needed to be better. I needed to be better for my wife. I needed to become and still working on becoming the man that she deserves, right? Big shout to my wife, Natalie Scott. This walk through life with her has opened me up to so many different things that I would have had no idea had we not been together. No idea. Um, my walk with God has gotten so much stronger since then. Um, I would say that my challenge in growing has continued since then. Um, my the way I look at myself has changed, right? My wife is who has taught me how to love myself. And because admittedly, for the longest part of my life, it wasn't something that I did at all. It wasn't something that I even knew. I didn't know that I didn't love myself, right? And she's the one that has taught me how to love myself. So I thank you. Thank you to my wife for that. Thank you for walking through this journey of life with me. Thank you for putting up with me because I know I'm a lot. I know I'm a lot. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the best that I can. So thank you to my wife because she's amazing. And I see her in the chat. Love you too, honey. Um, yeah. So with the marriage, some of the things we're going to talk about, we're going to talk about communication, right? We are going to talk about how to handle conflict. I know some of y'all might not have been ready for that, right? Like, what do you mean conflict? Conflict resolution is a huge part of any relationship, right? Because you're not going to agree on everything. It's just we're not designed to agree with everything. We're not designed to just say yes. We're not yes people, right? Ideally, we're not yes people. Let me say it that way, right? Because some people there are some yes people, but the person that you marry shouldn't just be a yes person. This should be your helpmate. And the helpmate is going to tell you when you're doing things the wrong way or when you could do something better, right? They're not supposed to just rub you on the back and say it's okay, which that was great for a song, right? Between Method Man and Mary J. But in real life, sometimes they got to kick you in the butt too. Right? They got to kick you in the butt sometimes too. So conflict resolution, intimacy, roles, you know, fighting for your spouse, not just with your spouse, right? There's a big difference. So those are the things we're going to talk about in the marriage portion of it. So that's number 4, right? We got 3 more to go. We talked about number 1, which was money. Number 2, which was mental health. Number 3, which was manhood, and number 4, which is marriage. You know. Thank you, Hope. She's shouting us out. She said, "Y'all are so blessed to have each other." Thank you. That means a lot. That really means a lot. Thank you for listening to us. All right. So let's get into number 5, right? Number 5 is ministry. Ministry, right? Ministry isn't always just specifically for the church. Ministry is how you serve, period. How do you serve beyond yourself, right? Because there is ministry outside of the 4 walls, right? Of course, let's start with the obvious, right? You ideally, you are able to offer your talents and your gifts and serve within the church, right? Because the body does need you. The body of Christ, it does need you, right? But it's not just about serving in the church. There are other ways to serve, right? You could serve in the military, right? That means you're protecting the country. You may serve as a teacher in the school system, right? You may serve as a mechanic. How are you serving your community? What do you bring to the table? Because you need to bring your skill set, your strengths, your opinion, your point of view, bring it all to the table. Why? Because there's somebody who could learn from you, or there's somebody who could just benefit from you. Real simple. Somebody who could just benefit from you. Because again, what you are bringing to the table is something that's needed. It's something that's needed, right? That could be your ministry, right? Listen, not everybody's not supposed to be on the pulpit on Sunday morning. I'm just being real. Can we be real? Now, for those that are anointed for that, God bless you. I think that is one of the highest levels of anointing, is to be able to be in the pulpit every Sunday. And the reason I say that is not because of the glamour, but because you are on display every week. You're on display every week. That means God is trusting you and trusting your walk so much that you can literally be on display every week for a church where half of the members don't truly appreciate what you do. Can we talk about that? They don't appreciate what you do. So I appreciate pastors that step forward. I appreciate those that walk within the body. I appreciate you guys so much, because the level that it takes to get to where you are, you've been through some things. You've been hurt. You've experienced some betrayal. Yeah. But God trusts you so much that even through all of that, you stay the course. You are staying the course. My God. You're staying the course. So I thank anybody that contributes to ministry in that level. So to all the pastors I've ever been associated with, I thank you. I thank you. To my current pastors here in Charlotte, North Carolina, thank you. The Restoration Place. Pastor Dexter Howard, I should say. Pastor Jeanette Howard, thank you. I appreciate you, right? To my pastors in New York, I appreciate you. To the Bastons, I appreciate you so much, Bishop Michael Baston. Appreciate you so much, Prophetess Baston. Thank you guys so much. Those 4 people, when it comes to ministry, have contributed into my life more than anybody, when it comes specifically to ministry and in growth. So thank you to all 4 of those people there. Then there's people who, and I'm going to stick on this ministry because we're going to slide to the left. Not that we're going to slide away from Christ, but we're going to show you and talk about other ways that you can minister your gifts to the community, right? So a big shout out to anybody who works in the mental health space, right? That's a ministry. That's a ministry. You may not get the title of ministry, but when you are helping people say keep their mental health quite literally, you know what I mean? That's another level of ministry because you're saving people sometimes from themselves, right? Sometimes you're saving people from themselves. It's amazing, right? It's amazing. So big shout to them. What about the people who serve at your school systems, right? These teachers are providing a ministry. They are serving. They are serving. Yeah, your mental health affects your physical health. You're absolutely right, Yvonne. Your mental health affects your physical health, right? We got our teachers. These teachers are raising your children from generally 8 a.m. to 3 p.m., right? That's a service. They don't pay these people nearly enough for the amount of stuff that they do because they are educators. They are substitute parents sometimes. They are role models. They're disciplinarians. They do a lot. They do a lot. That is more than just a career. So big shout to the teachers, right? Maybe look, here's another thing. Maybe you worked in corrections. Maybe you worked in the prison system, right? Listen, that's a ministry. You know why? Because you are literally in charge of keeping the people who have been convicted of crimes. You're keeping them away from the rest of the world, right? And I'm not saying that every person in prison convicted a crime, right? Listen, we all know that in reality, sometimes there have been situations where people have been put in jail under the wrong reasons. But some of those people there are really violent people and they need to be separated from us. So if nobody grows up and says, you know what, I want to work in the prison system. That isn't usually a career path that everybody takes, but it's a career path where you are protecting your community. You're protecting multiple communities, right? And I'm naming some of these things specifically because I know people that are involved in these type of things. I know, right? So whether you're a teacher, whether you work at corrections, whether you work in the ministry, whether you work in banking, right? When you work in banking, you're helping people manage their finances at a high level. You're helping people. You are saving them in some regard by teaching them how to manage their money. Because there's a saying that a fool with his money will soon be departed. A fool and his money will soon be departed, right? But if you teach them how to manage it, you're serving in the community. That's ministry, right? Counselors, right? Thank you, Yvonne. Counselors. They usually help people resolve arguments, right? Whether you work, maybe you're in HR. People who work in HR is ministry. Why? Because they hire people for their jobs. They remove bad apples from companies. They do these things in a lot of ways where they keep the company running and they keep the employees happy, right? That's a ministry. That's a liaison, right? So that's how we're going to rock with that. You know what I mean? We're going to teach you how to use your everyday gifts to serve in your community. All right. Make sure y'all doing that. And listen, don't forget to make sure that as you go through these, as you listen to this, make sure that you like, subscribe, and share on your timeline. All right. That is the absolute best thing you could do. You can copy the link that you're watching either from YouTube or Facebook, and you are able to simply like, subscribe, and share. All right. That's how we grow, is by getting the followers here. That's how we grow. All right. That's how we grow. All right. So moving on from ministry, let's talk about mission. Mission, right? What does that mean when I say mission? What is your purpose? What is your calling in life, right? What is the assignment that God has given you, right? That is mission, right? Why are you here and who are you called to impact, right? So that's focusing on your purpose, right? So for example, for me, why am I back on radio? I feel that this is my mission field, a big part of my mission field, because God has graced me to be able to have a voice that connects with men, given me the ability to be able to, get on the air and on the radio and talk with people uh, in a positive manner. You could talk. I just really, really, think that this is a place where I'm able to help people, right? Listen, I could talk about money easily. I could talk about ministry easily. All these 7 motivations that I'm going over with you is going to be places that not only do I have some knowledge in it, some of these things I'm pretty good at, right? Some of these things I'm still learning, but that's a part of the journey. That's why we're here together, right? So yes, this episode I'm here by myself, right? Going forward, I'm usually have an interview, or maybe I'll just have some things going on in the comments, right? That's how we move forward. That's the mission, right? That your mission is that thing that keeps tugging at you, right? It's that business idea, that creative project, that community work, right? What are you building that's bigger than you, right? Is it your business, right? Maybe you own an insurance agency. Big shout out to Lauren and Ren. I see you in the chat. Thank you for tuning in, right? Thank you, Lauren, for tuning in. Maybe that's your mission field, right? Maybe it's social work, right? Steph, I appreciate you. Appreciate you and my brother, man. Appreciate y'all logging in. Listen, maybe that's your mission field. Maybe that's what you are here and designed to do. Your mission, right? Think about that. We're all here created to do something bigger than us, something that's going to last longer than your name, something that'll last longer than your lifespan. That's real. That's real, right? That's your mission. We're going to talk about those things, right? And number 7, and this is a real good one. I just added this one recently as I was going through these, right? 7 is mastery. Mastery. What does that mean? Mastery is simple. It means getting better on purpose. That's it. Getting better on purpose, right? It's growth. It's changing your habits. It's working on the skills to help you get to the next level. It's discipline, right? Oh yeah. It's time management, right? Oh yeah. Listen, and again, mastery isn't about perfection. No, there's really no such thing as perfection, but there is such a thing called progress, right? We're not here to strive for perfection, but we are here to strive towards progress and get better every single day of the week. Every time you hear this episode, that's what we're going to talk about, is how to get better. That's what these 7 motivations are. That's what these 7 motivations are, right? Again, it's not perfection, but progress. Becoming excellent in your line and staying in your lane, that can maximize your potential. You've got to stay in your lane doing what you're supposed to do, right? How do you know what's your lane? Trial and error. That's one way. There's one way. Listen, you've got to fall in order to figure out where you're going, right? Think about this, right? When you are in school and you take a course, right? They give you the answers ahead of time. Literally. They say, this is the book. These are some practice questions. This is the topic you will be studied on, right? Then, after a certain period of time, let's call it midterms, you're going to take an exam to see how well you're doing in this process, right? Or in this coursework. Then at the end of the semester, you're going to take your finals, right? Sometimes it's in the form of a project, sometimes it's in the form of a multiple question test, sometimes it's what do they call that when you have the long answers? Um, where you have a bunch of short answers that you write in. I forget the terminology, but y'all follow where I'm going with this, right? That's how it works in school systems, right? But here's another thing in life. In life, a lot of times you get the test first, and then you have to go back and figure out the answers. Then you have to go back and get the answers. That's life, right? What up, Randy? Big shout to you, brother. I see you logged in. Big shout to Hope. Thank you. But listen, mastery is about growth, right? How can I be better today than I was yesterday? How can I be better today than I was yesterday? Right? What can I do right now that can make me better? Right? So we're going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about ways for you to grow, right? We're going to talk about books that you can read. We're going to talk about certain skill sets and certain ways to improve where you're at, right? Every type of business there is has multiple ways for you to grow, right? There's multiple ways. There's an old, what's that old saying? There's more than one way to skin a cat. It's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Um, that's how we go. So that's the 7 motivations. I'm gonna go through them one more time. All right, one more time, and then I want to get some questions in the comments. Let me know what you guys would like to talk about for the rest of this show. We'll be on here for about 15 more minutes. We're gonna keep the show to 1 hour. Right, we're gonna keep the show down to 1 hour. But let's talk about it. So number one of the 7 motivations, right? 7 motivations. Number 1 is money. Number 2 is mental health. Number 3, manhood. Number 4 is marriage. Number 5 is ministry. Number 6 is mastery. These are the 7 motivations. 7 motivations, right? These are the things that we're going to be focusing this show around as we grow each week. These are going to be the things that we talk about each week. Is going to, if not all of them, for sure at least one of them. That's going to be the standard. If not all of them, then at least one of them, right? So this week, since this is episode number 1, this is the mission field for me. This is the mission field. For me, it's number 6, right? And I'm putting them all into the chat so that you can see them, you can copy them. I just put it into the Facebook and the YouTube stream. Of course, the formatting wouldn't come out perfectly. But these are the areas of focus, right? Money, mental health, manhood, marriage, ministry, mission, and mastery, right? So let's talk about it. So the mission here at Joe Boss Radio, right, is that we are going to rise up together. We're going to rise up together, right? Some things I may know more than you, and you, as the listening audience, you may know some things from me. You may teach me a thing or two. Right? I said that wrong the first way. I'm going to learn something from you. You're going to learn something from me. That's how we do this. We're going to grow together, right? And we're going to learn how to network, right? Thank you, Yvonne. Like they said, your network is your net worth. It is your net worth, right? Who do you know? How do you manage those relationships? How do you see yourself growing? All right. Listen, let's get some questions in the comments. What you guys want to know? You know what I mean? What questions do you have? What kind of Q&A are we going to get going for this? Because I want to hear what you got to say, right? What do you want to know? Seriously, what do you want to know about? Right? You see in the comment section where we put the 7 motivations. Which one would you like to focus on? Which area that would you like to actually see yourself grow in? Right? What do you want to know? What do you want to know? Right? So for me, like I said, it's mission. It's the mission. There's the mission of Joe Boss Radio. It's to move forward, to grow with you all. It's to help you all get to the next place, right? Because how can I help you grow, and how can you help me grow if we don't walk this thing together, right? All right. So now we got some questions. So somebody said mental health. All right. Thank you, Steph. Wants to know about mental health, right? Mental health is, for me, is one of the things that I've had to learn to watch what I intake, right? And that's in so many aspects, right? When it comes to the mental health, I have to watch what I intake and what I eat, right? I got to slow down so that I can get my physical body in a better shape, because your physical body does have an impact on your mental health, right? When you feel good, you look good. When you look good, you project good, right? So projection, part of that comes from how you think about yourself. So when you are focusing on your mental health, how do you dress? How do you carry yourself when you walk out the door, right? You know, I'm not saying you need to dress like it's a business meeting at every episode or every day, but you do need to carry yourself with a level of respect, right? You know, for men, are your pants sagging or are you neat? Yeah, you could wear your t-shirt with different things on it. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, you should wear stuff that represents you and your culture, but still be neat about it, right? Carry yourself with a level of respect, right? How you carry yourself outside of the office can determine how you handle yourself inside the office, right? Your mental health. Then it's, what are you watching on TV with your mental health? Are you constantly watching dramas about bad marriages? Think about that. Do you watch TV about bad marriages all the time? Or do you watch something maybe on I forget, I think the Hallmark channel, or one of those, you know, that channel where they play a lot of movies about relationships, right? But they always end in a good way. Instead of watching TV about it, why don't you get a book, right? Why don't you search YouTube on healthy marriage tips, right? You have to literally seek the things that you want, right? Because it's the drama, the negative things, oh, they attracted to you, right? For some reason, negative energy, it's like that fur that sticks to your clothes. Like, you feel like you can't ever get it off, right? But when you want the attractive things, right, you have to go for it. You got to go for the attractive things in your life. And I don't mean just how you look. I'm talking about the attractive things like being smart, right? You don't become smart by doing a bunch of dumb stuff, right? Smart decision making is a choice, and it does take practice, right? That's mental health. Then you got to think about who around you is affecting your mental health. Listen, if you know the people around you is negative all the time, separate yourself. I'm not saying you need to cut them off, but I am saying you need to limit your intake. You need to limit your intake on negative people, right? If certain conversations trigger you, maybe you should get some help. Maybe you should get mental health, a mental expert, excuse me. I can't get my words together. A mental health expert to help you. That's what you might need, right? There is nothing wrong with seeking help. But what is wrong is when you need help and you don't seek it. That's a problem. That's a problem. So your mental health is one of the most important things you could do. All right. So now let's go on to the next one because I know I kind of beat that up for a minute. The next one is my man Randy Bazil said he wanted to talk about manhood. This is going to be fun, right? And I'm not going to spend so much time on these one topics because we only got a few minutes left for the show. But listen, manhood. Whoo, that's one of those things that I'm going to have to do a lot of unpacking when it comes to manhood, right? And what do I mean? When I say unpacking, is we are going to have to talk about all the things that we were taught as young children and as young men that is supposed to be manhood, but is not, right? It is part of the negative culture, right? With every culture, there's good things and bad things, whether you're hip hop culture, whether you're Spanish culture, black culture, white culture, whatever culture you're a part of, the sports culture, maybe it's the culture of a business or BNI, whatever culture you're a part of, there's good things and there's bad things, or I should say things that can be turned bad that are supposed to be positive, right? And it applies in a big way to manhood. It does. When you're impressionable, right? Let's say you're in your tween years, like let's say your ages of like 8 to like 16. From that period of your life, you are highly impressionable. Highly impressionable. What are the people in front of you doing and telling you, right? I remember growing up and you had some people that would tell you, yo, you see that woman over there? You got to knock that down. Right? And your goal, they would teach you that your goal is to knock as many down as you can. But that's not manhood. That's not manhood, right? That's some type of egotistical thing, or I hate to use the term toxic masculinity because as currently there doesn't exist an opposite for it, right? Like what if there's some positive masculinity, right? It almost sounds like an oxymoron these days because there have been so many things that try to tear men down and what manhood really is, right? What manhood really is being accountable. What manhood really is guarding not only yourself but guarding those near you, right? Guarding their hearts, maybe guarding them physically, right? If I'm not saying that you need to be a fighter, but there are things that you can do. If you sense danger, you can, if you need to call the police and just help people escape, right? That's manhood. You're saving lives, right? You're making a difference. That's the thing. You're making a difference. So that's the manhood, right? Let's see. So Steph said mission, and so did Randy. All right, so mission. We'll let's talk about the mission, right? What do you love to do? Right? What do you love to do that you can use to serve in your community? What do you love to do? Seriously. In the comments, I want y'all to put some things that you love to do that you could serve, right? So for me, I remember I fell in love with radio when I was in junior high. My mother lived in New York. I lived in West Virginia with my grandparents, and I came up to New York to visit her, right? And I remember she turned the radio on, and Hot 97 came on, right? And this is, my mother's a teacher, so she would work. She'd be up early in the morning, prepared to go to school. And I remember listening to this show, Ed and Dre, right? They be like, "What's up, y'all? What you got to say? Who's on the phone with Ed, Lisa, and Dre?" Right? Something like that, right? It's been such a long time ago. I fell in love with radio, right? The fact that growing up in Beckley, West Virginia, at that time, there was no hip hop radio, period, right? There wasn't no internet, so you couldn't stream it, right? The only access we had really to listening to hip hop was MTV, BET, and whatever tapes we used to buy at the store, right? Because this was before CDs were even really a thing, right? We were still on tape decks. And I remember when I was in high school, I got an opportunity to volunteer for the NAACP. And part of what they did is once a week, two people from the chapter could go on the radio and just talk about whatever they wanted to talk about, right? Of course, you couldn't curse, you couldn't do whatever. But if you want to talk about music, you talk about music. You want to talk about sports, that's what you did, right? So in doing so, um, I really enjoyed it. I love being on air and just being able to talk and share my thoughts. And then we would play music, we beatboxed, um, we did a whole lot of different things where it really put us in a place that we were impactful. And I know that we were impactful because when we did it, um, some of the things that they did on the air was not some of the music that we played on the air. When we got to school the next day, half the school heard us, and we didn't even know. We went viral before viral was a thing, right? It was like, yo, we heard you on the radio, blah, 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 blah. And I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. So here I am years later, now using something I love, which was being on the radio and being able to share in everything about me to help you. I'm going to share the wins that I have. Hell, I'm going to share some of the failures too, right? Because in this game called life, we grow, we listen, we learn, we fail, we get back up. We get back up. And that's all you could do. You got to continue to get back up. And what does that mean? That means rise up, right? A lot of you may have know me from my previous show, Rise Up Worldwide. And maybe in the future we may bring that back, right? The reason I decided to go and branch out apart from Rise Up Worldwide, the show, was because this one is going to be a different format. That show, I designed it to be like a morning show. It was designed to be a morning show, right? It was designed to have a group of people, different personalities, playing music, talking about current events. And we're going to do a lot of that here. We're going to do a lot of that here. But that format was also highly influenced into specifically the Christian hip hop community. It was specifically designed for that audience, where this audience here, here with me on Joe Boss Radio, this is going to be for everybody, right? Admittedly, I'm targeting the brothers. I'm targeting men, right? Because I want you guys to know that you've got somebody advocating for you. Jesus advocates for you in heaven. I'm going to advocate for you as your brother on the earth, right? I'm here to be your brother. I'm here to be a part of your growth, and you're here to be a part of my growth. That's the mission. That's my mission, right? With these 7 motivations, that's my mission, to bring you things like the mission, right? Coming up this next year, I'm going to be doing things. Part of my mission is I'm going to bring to the table a men's journal. It's a discipleship journal for small groups, right? That is part of my mission. That's going to be some of the things I do to help grow. That's going to be called the Noble Man. Yeah, it's going to be big. I'm telling you, it's going to be big, 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 right? It's going to be something that I am super excited to share with you, right? That's the mission. That's my mission. We are going to grow as men. We're going to grow as husbands. We're going to grow as fathers. We're going to grow as brothers. We're going to grow. We are going to be the protectors of our sisters, the supporters of our sisters, right? We're going to be here for you. And ladies, I pray that a lot of this is going to help you too, right? I'm not going to teach you how to be a man, of course. We're not going to go there. but I'm going to teach you about men, right? And I want you to hear some things from a man's perspective on how we interact with women, right? Because there's a lot of things that are miscommunicated. So from time to time, my wife will be on air with me, giving me her perspective, right? Because who am I? Who am I without working without my better half? Who am I? Right? Oh, big shout to my man Mayhew. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate you being on here, man. So appreciate you, Randy. So let's talk about it. Some of you in the comments, you did write what you feel your mission is, right? What you like to do. So my man Randy Bazil, I love to do graphic design, organize, and make music. Love it. Love it. Love it. Shout out to my man Randy. And he just dropped his website. Drop your website in the comments, brother. I'll put it up here for you for people to contact you and get some of that graphic design. Because my man does some great work, right? And we're going to be working together over this next year. So he's going to help us to improve the look of of Joe Boss Radio. Yeah, Rise Up Worldwide is still part of the family. That's still the love, right? But my man Randy does amazing work. So let's see. So it says Steph, but this is for my man Antoine. It says, right. I love to put feelings to paper. I love to create, draw, and color, but I don't make time for it. I've had a business idea for my family for a while now, but kind of in a stuck space. I've always wanted to have my own nonprofit that helps the communities that often gets overlooked. Bruh, you get a flex for that. Yes, sir. You get a flex for that. That's what I'm talking about, man. You want to help the communities and do stuff. You want to create a business that not only supports your family, but supports the community. Bro, let's talk about it, man. I've got some ideas where I want to do some things to help the community as well. Maybe we can partner. But I promise you, fam, there are ways to get things started. If you can Google it, you can find a way. It's literally that simple. Whatever your idea is, if you can Google it, you can find your way. That's it. If you can Google it, you can find your way, right? And the reason I say that is because this is with the assumption, and I should have said it this way first. If you can pray, you can find your way. But nowadays in 2025, right? This December 9th, 2025, you can go online and research everything. You don't even have to have a computer no more. 9 out of 10 people got a smartphone that can do just about everything a computer can do. If you need funding, there are ways to get graphics. I promise you, if you start talking to God about this idea over and over, he will help you get there. I'm going to tell you like this. I got an idea right now. I'm not going to share the full idea, but I have an idea where I know I'm going to need to get some grants. I know I'm going to need to get some trucks. I know I'm going to need to connect with certain types of businesses for donations and supporting the community, right? Do you know, I just started writing my idea down. I came up with the name of the business and I said, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, you got to send me the help. You got to send me the people, right? So I'm in church a couple of weeks ago and I just happened to randomly see 2 people in the church. One of them I know drives trucks. And I say, oh, yo, let me talk to him real quick. Right. So I talked to him and just kind of run my idea past him, like of what I'm thinking. He's like, yeah. He's like, oh, yeah, I can help you with that. He's like, I have all the licenses. I have this, that, and the third, and you're going to need this type of trucks. And he had all the knowledge. He had the experience and the licensing for a very specific division of the business that I'm thinking of, right? Just like that, right? Okay. Immediately after I talked to him, another person from the church walks up and I'm talking to this person, and come to find out, this person is a grant writer by trade. What do I mean by trade? This is what they do for a living. They are grant writers for a living. You can't tell me that God don't send you the people that you need, right? Those are two very specific things that I will need to get running for this this business for the community, right? The grant writer is going to help get funding, right? No business operates without funding. I don't care what it is, right? Ain't no such thing as free lunch when it comes to running a business. It just ain't gonna happen, right? But then also having somebody who actually owns, operates, and licensed to do trucking. Come on, fam. Those are two major pieces that are within reach. If and generally I feel like I want to work with people. You always want to work with people you know, or at least be able to consult with them, right? Because not every business, not every partnership is meant to go to fruition. Sometimes you just need to be able to consult with people. But I do believe that these two people within the circle are going to help me to grow in a specific area to get this started. Your circle matters. Your circle matters. Shout out to my man Randy. Your circles matter. Shout out to my man Malachi the Truth. What's good, bro? Good to hear from you, man. We got to connect offline, man. I know I missed the last time, but we're going to connect, bro. That's on me. I'm telling you. What is it that you want to do? So shout to my boy Antoine. Listen, you are not stuck, right? You're not stuck. You have just hit a comma. The sentence of your purpose is not over. The sentence of your purpose is not over. You've just hit a comma. All that is a pause, right? But what happens after a comma? You continue on with the purpose of the sentence. You've just hit a comma. That's all that happened, bro. So whatever it is, whatever the idea that you have, whatever the purpose that God has put on your life, move forward. Move forward. Don't let these things stop you. Don't let yourself get intimidated because things didn't work out like you thought they should. Please. You know how many times I done messed up something? This is the third radio show I done started. This ain't my first rodeo. But I've taken the opportunity from everything that I've done in the past to learn from it. Listen, if you can relate to that, just put learn in the comments. Just write learn in the comments if you can relate to that. If you can relate to messing up and growing from that failure, right? Because you're going to fail. If you can relate to starting a business and it don't work out, if you can relate to starting a relationship and it don't work out, if you can relate to taking some jump shots in the gym but you don't score, if you can relate to being on the team and losing a game, if you can relate to getting a new job and then getting fired, just put learn in the comments, right? Because that's what we're here for. We're here to learn. We're here to learn from mistakes, right? Hopefully we can share our mistakes with each other, and hopefully we can share our mistakes with those who would want to grow with us. But let's learn, right? Let's learn. Big shout to my man Ren Johnarine from Allstate. That's my brother. I thank you for sharing the stream. I appreciate you, brother. But let's learn. Let's learn. So if you can relate to that, learn. If you can relate to the times where you just messed up, you dropped the ball in whatever situation happened, just type learn. Because that's what we're here for. We are here to learn together, right? I am not an expert on a lot of things. Some things I know pretty well, some things I just learning. And I can tell you one thing I learned is that when I fall, I learn to get back up. When I fall, I learn to lean sometimes when I needed to, instead of standing straight up. Because maybe I was tired and maybe I needed help. So I've learned to ask for help. I've learned to not be completely dependent on others. Stepping out to do this show by myself, this is a faith walk. I'm learning as I'm growing with you all. Big shout to my boy Larry. Appreciate you, brother. That's big homie from West Virginia, from Beckley. One of my longest running friends since elementary. I couldn't even tell you. We might have known each other since kindergarten. I don't really remember, but a long time. A long time. Learn. Right? What else do you guys want to learn? We're gonna wrap it up. I know I'm over the mark, but we were going somewhere with this. We were having a good time. Learn. What are we learning? All right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're doing here. We're learning. That's what we're doing. We are learning. As men, we are learning to be men. So yeah, that's what we're doing, man. Listen, let me tell y'all, man. In this new year, it's going to be a lot of things coming up. Y'all see the logo just above my head, but I'm going to share with you the logo for what we're going to be doing on the ministry side of things, for the business side of things, which is the Noble Man. With the Noble Man, is definitely going to be something that I do to help you grow specifically, right? That the 7 motivations is basically the backbone of the Noble Man. So let me show you. This is the logo that we're going to be moving forward with for the Noble Man. Yeah, I know y'all like that, right? That's going to be the logo, right? That's going to be the logo. And I'm telling you, man, you are really, really going to enjoy some of the things that we're coming up with, right? I got the book logo that I'm going to share with y'all, right? We're going to share the book. We're gonna make sure that you always know what we're going on. Yes, hope. Yes, there's always room for growth. Yes, always room for growth. Right. So this is the cover. This is the book I'm hoping to drop, let's say by February 1st. That's the projected time to drop the Noble Man, because we want to be able to, in time for you guys to start building your church, your men's group within your church. That's going to be the book, man. The Crown, the Crest, and the Call. All right. It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey, not like any book where you just read it. No, not like that at all. This is something that you're going to participate in, right? In this book, you're going to learn how to grow and recognize who you are as a son of God. Talking to my brothers here. You're going to learn what it is to be a son of God and what being a son of God entitles, right? Because if God is the King of Kings, that is going to make you a prince. If God is the King of Kings, he's royalty. And as his son, that makes you at least a prince. At least a prince. That means you are a king, because princes become kings. You just have to grow into the space of claiming your kingdom. That's good. You got to grow with God into a place of claiming your kingdom. That's how you go from prince to king. Then in the second part of the book, the crest, during that part of the book, you're going to understand what it is to build something that lives beyond you, how to build your legacy within your family. And you're going to learn how to build a family crest. You're going to learn how to build a family crest. Because a lot of us don't have such things, particularly in the African-American community. We don't have family crests or symbols like that a lot of times because, quite frankly, it was stripped from us. Well, now you have an opportunity to establish your kingdom and your family in Christ with this book, The Noble Man. Let me share that to y'all one more time. And lastly would be the call. Again, that's understanding the call of God on your life, right? So yes, this show is not quote unquote a straight Christian show, right? But we're gonna be always talking about Christian values in some form, fashion, right? But we're not going to be Jesus all down your throat, every other word. That's boring. That's just boring. That's not going to work. No, we're going to grow better than that. We're going to grow in a place that we're going to talk about real life things, right? Real talk, real life, and rising together. All right, listen, that is going to wrap up our show for today. Thank you for rocking with me for episode number 1. We are officially in the books with episode number 1. Thank you so much for each and every person that was here. Listen, share this on your timeline. Do me a favor. If you don't already, follow me on social media at Joe Boss Radio on IG, at Joe Boss Radio on YouTube, at Joe Boss Radio on IG and TikTok as well. And listen, here's the last thing. Show your boy some love. If you felt like you got anything out of today's episode, please donate. Use this Cash App. All right. Cash App, a money sign, Joe Boss Radio. Can't get no simpler than that. Can't get no simpler than that. The name of the show is where you could donate to. All right. Please don't hesitate to do that. If you got anything, if you felt anything, and listen, I'm not one of them people who will say, let me get 10 people to donate $1,000. Don't get me wrong. If you got it, please do. Right? If all you got is $5, if all you got is $2, if all you got is a 20, listen, we count coins the same way we count the same money that folds. So please, whatever you can do, please support, like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, right here on Rise Up Worldwide. All right. Listen, I love you guys. I thank you guys for being here with me. And I'll see you next week. Peace out. Well, as soon as I go to play the music.
The way that I walk, yeah. Look at the way that I talk, yeah. You should have called it a cross, yeah. You would have called it a loss, yeah. I call it gain, this world is insane, and I want no parts of it. I'm calling it costs a bit. The price going up, that dollar don't bother the father. Contrition is what it gets, y'all. Broken, I'm hoping he notices, y'all. Focus and poking that golden things, y'all. If I'm a Beatle.